Over the years, I've made a lot of jokes about day one, world's first tier 4 for different characters. But Shang-Chi might actually be the first one that is a day one world first tier 4. I'm going to dial down the saturation on this video because it looks like I have spaghetti smeared all over my lips. I don't. But don't go back and rewatch the beginning of the video now. Listen, Shang-Chi's not very good, man. And it kind of makes me sad because he's so close to being good. This is the thing that kind of breaks my heart. He's so close to being good. But I think the devs made some fundamental mistakes with his build design. Namely, they didn't really pay enough attention to the old Shang-Chi uniform from 4 years ago, where those devs actually cooked really hard. And the long story short, because I don't want to bore you guys, but basically Shang-Chi still has the skill resetting tech, which I think is really fun, and I do give the devs a small applause, the current devs, for keeping this in the game, because they could have just shuttled it away. They could have said, listen, we don't want to deal with this, it's too complicated, we don't have the gigawatts upstairs to really compute, but they did it. The problem is that they switched it around in a way that makes it just straight up worse. Okay, so remember, with the old Shang-Chi uniform from 4 years ago, the way that it works is the first skill resets the fifth skill. And remember, skills 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 add more charge to your tier 3 buff, right? So the first skill only adds like 1% charge to your tier 3, but the fifth skill usually adds like 30% or more to your tier 3 charge up. So you do 2, 3, 5, then you do 1, 5, 6, 4, and you can fit all of that into one rotation because of the way that the charging works. And then you can do 7, 2, 1, 3, 5, and then 4 again. And here's the thing that I want you guys to note about Shang-Chi with the old uniform. With the old uniform, the fifth skill doesn't do a lot of damage. It does very little damage, the fifth skill, but it has a lot of hits to trigger the proc or whatever. And then conversely, the fourth skill does a lot of damage. So you can see here, even without the rage proc activating, the fourth skill does a ton of damage. And even if I pass the proc onto the fifth skill, it doesn't really do that much damage. You can see here the fourth skill without the proc actually does more damage than the fifth skill with the proc. The only other thing I want you guys to notice with the old Shang-Chi uniform, this is the only negative, the only downside to the old Shang-Chi uniform, is that the heal on the third skill happens at the end. So it happens actually really late. Last thing I actually want you to notice is that the first skill dives to the other side of the boss. So it allows you to reposition to his... You can reposition 180 degrees. So I'm in front of Thanos. Now I'm behind Thanos. Now I'm in front of him again. This is really important for gameplay, okay? All of these things that I pointed out are really important for gameplay. And I really hate to do this in a very technical way for Shang-Chi, but it actually matters. Because now what they did, first of all, they took away the movement on his first skill. So no more teleporting behind the enemy or in front of them from behind them. That's gone. That sucks. Secondly, they now made it so that the 10-ring staff, his second skill, resets his fourth skill. And you would think, oh, well, that if you're pressing the second and the fourth skill, that's going to basically add up to the same amount as the fifth skill would. It doesn't. So you charge up your tier 3 more slowly now because you're not resetting and spamming the fifth skill. You're resetting and spamming the fourth skill. So this is the other big problem, is they chose the wrong... They should have kept it on the fifth skill, basically. The other problem is that they decided to balance the damage across his skills. So they made his third skill do more damage for PvP. They made his fifth skill do more damage for whatever reason. And then they decided to lower the damage of his fourth skill. Well, guess what? You're resetting on the fourth skill to try to pass the proc. It doesn't really matter because the skills do a similar amount of damage now. So yeah, they kind of just bricked it up. So now if I do 1, 5, you can see the amount of damage that it does. It does about a bar. It does a little bit more than a bar, sure. And now if I wait and I do my next proc here with 4, you can see it does a little bit more, but it does about a bar. So there's not really much, there's not a noticeable difference between the fourth skill and the fifth skill, which means that passing the proc off of his fifth skill, or off of his tier 3, like from the tranquil, this tranquil buff, it doesn't really matter what skill you pass it off to. It doesn't really matter because the damage is basically the same on the skills. So yeah, it does make the Shang-Chi playstyle a little bit more cringe, a little bit more just like, you know, yabba dabba do spam. But I guess that makes him easier to play. But it also doesn't make him much better. I'll show you guys some screenshots here where I tested out the old Shang-Chi uniform versus the new one. Keep in mind with the new one, I hadn't played it for very long, but keep in mind with the old one, I hadn't played it for very long either. It had been years since I touched the old Shang-Chi uniform, so it's pretty equal in terms of how rusty, quote-unquote rusty I was. The good news is, genuinely, the good news is for the new Shang-Chi uniform, he's not bad for PvE, he's just not great. But the good news is you can now pass the tier 3 proc onto pretty much any of the 3 high damage skills, 3, 4, or 5. So between 3, 4, and 5, you can pretty much... You don't want to pass on to 2. That was stupid. But yeah, between 3, 4, and 5, you can do whatever you want. The other thing I want to point out is that his heal now on his 3rd skill happens at the beginning. I'll get hit here to show you guys. I'm going to get hit a couple times. And then, boom, you can see the heal happens right away. So that's pretty nice. But otherwise, yeah, he's kind of just a spam Fiesta character now. And yeah, it kind of is what it is. The only thing you don't want to do is press the tier 3 when you have no skills available. That's just a bad idea. That's what I just did. It definitely takes some time to get used to if you forgot kind of how to play Shang-Chi. He definitely is a high skill cap character for damage. I did it again. But yeah, I'm just a little bit disappointed with the devs' design on this one. I don't think that they thought about it carefully enough. And yeah, it kind of just sucks, man. He's just not that good. He's just not that good. And you can see in the comparison between the old uni and the new uni, it's only like, whatever, 10, 15, 20 seconds faster. But it requires the whole fight, which means it's really not that much faster. And it could also come down to just polish and rust in my gameplay. So yeah, I would say for PvE, what the devs ought to do is just take some of the damage from 5 and move it to 4. That's just all that needs to happen. That's not all that needs to happen, frankly, but that would be what they should do at least to make him feel more like he used to feel. It just kind of sucks, man. He used to be really, really fun for PvE with the really banging 4th skill that just did such high damage. And now, because they kind of neutered him, it just feels neutered because all the skills do the same damage. You know, it just feels very, very cookie cutter in that sense. Anyways, that's the PvE side of things. Jumping over to the PvP side of things, I have kind of mixed feelings about it, unfortunately. Mainly because he's almost good enough. So we're going to take this 90-90 Brilliant Conquest from Shala Balls, and we're going to go ahead and give it to him. The rest of the build is not too crazy. I only have 6 Odin's Blessings, but I do have the heal Odin's Blessings. We don't have the Serpent Crown Elite Gear built up, but that could give him a bit more damage ignore, which is nice for his DPS, or maybe damage reduction. I honestly don't know. He's a reflect character, so maybe. But yeah, these are the stats for PvE, or sorry, for PvP. I'm just going to go ahead and change the 4th gear roll to dodge so that I can have dodge capped. There you go. So these are the stats for PvP now. You can see that pretty much everything important is capped. Ignore defense, skill, cooldown, dodge, reduce debuff duration, and attack speed. And yeah, those are the stats there. I'm rank 60. We've got the stage 12 Power of Angry Hulk. We've got a 4-star artifact with pierce reduction, which is important. The reduced pierce damage received. His artifact itself is not very good. For PvP, you would just want a version of his artifact in order to get that pierce damage reduction. And you'd want the pierce damage roll, the pierce damage reduction roll to basically to work. Now, specifically for Shang-Chi PvP, you can actually change the second roll on his uniform to HP. And you could even go further. Okay, well, if it's ever going to roll. You could even go further as to, if you don't have 20 Odin's Blessings to give him, you could replace his physical attack Uru with HP Uru. So you could go 2 rows of HP Uru, then the heal Odin's Blessing, and then whatever else for the last 2 rows. The reason why I say that is because Shang-Chi is basically a reflect pylon character. He's like a reflect threat character, like a shittier version of Shala Ball, Silver Surfer, etc., right? but his reflect is not based on his attack. Okay, his reflect is not based on his attack. It reflects 80% of damage received. It's just about the amount of damage that he receives. It reflects almost 100% of the damage that he receives, regardless of the attacker's evasion. It does say 80% of max attack, but it's such a high number, right? Remember, other characters for reflect, Emma, Shalabal, etc., Silver Surfer, it's like a fraction of that. Silver Surfer's reflect is like 30% of max attack. Shalabal's reflect is also 30% of max attack. It's very, very low. You rarely get up that high. And so because it's such a high number, cranking his attack stat doesn't matter as much, but cranking his HP matters because he needs to survive. He needs to survive as long as possible to keep spamming this third skill to keep reflecting. So I would say more so, like, of course, all PvP reflect characters need a lot of HP to be able to tank. Shang-Chi needs it even more than they do if you're going to make use of his one gimmick. Because outside of this skill, unless he can survive until he gets his tier 3, then that gives him iframe ignore, which is really, really cool. He's kind of toast. So it is a little bit disappointing. This is a team that I was rocking here with Hela and trying to take advantage of hero teams. But, of course, it's quite difficult. We're going to try here against the rank 1. That's not the team that I'm using. It's really annoying with the new change here. I have to go here and change it. Anyways, we're going to try here against the rank 1 Vibranium player. This is a brilliant... I think Hela has a brilliant liberation. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah. It seems like she has a brilliant liberation. So she has a brilliant liberation. Wasp has a brilliant insight. And then Shang-Chi has a brilliant conquest. So this is team-wise, support CTP-wise, this is basically as good as it gets. It's not going to get any better than this. He has to press 3 right now or he's dead. Okay. You can see the reflect there is not very good. He's almost tanky enough. Almost. But he gets guard broken. He gets guard broken like crazy. Yeah. We'll try again. Like, it literally can't get better than this. And it's just like, man, what is he made for? I just get mad. You know, Shang-Chi was really good 4 years ago. And I understand that he can't be... I mean, like, on the one hand, I was going to say I understand why he can't be the top meta now. But on the other hand, I'm going to say, like, why can't he be the top meta now? I think that's one of the reasons why players are frustrated with Marvel Future Fight right now, is that not only are so many characters getting bad reworks, but it seems like the devs really don't care for characters unless they're native tier 2, native tier 3. Like, obviously, Mephisto got a really good rework. I also think that was the straw that would have broken the camel's back. If Mephisto didn't get a good rework, I think all hell would have broken loose. Boycott, you know, big letter B boycott, etc. But it's like, besides Storm this year and like a couple of other characters, like, sure, they finally gave Cyclops justice, etc. But like, so many missed opportunities. All of the rest of the Thunderbolts, Bishop, Emma's honestly one of the few that I would say, bro, you have to press the third skill. Emma's one of the few that I would say they did her justice, but she's a premium character, right? She's a premium character. So what? I'm manually playing right now because I'm just triggered, bruh. He's getting guard broken. Like, he just gets guard broken and stun locked. He did kill Sentry once, but like, this is as good as it gets, dude. He has one support, Ebony Mob, that isn't doing anything. So it's basically just Sentry with one support, Colossus, versus Shang-Chi with the best possible support. I'm not even trying against Null, right? Like, Hela gives me nothing against Null. Null will obliterate me. But he can't even kill Sentry twice. And I'm playing manually, and I'm stacking up the best possible team with 3 brilliant CTPs. Like, what's the point? What's the point? You just don't even build tier 1 characters anymore, right? It's just kind of... There I killed him. I don't know, man. I don't know. Okay, killed him again. Noise. I'm really scared what's going to happen when... yeah. Okay. Oh, damn. Okay, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. He's like almost there, you know? He's like almost there. But it's a really expensive build. I think he actually does benefit a lot from... Oh, that wasn't even an Agent Venom team. We're not touching an Agent Venom team, buddy. I don't think he can beat Silver Surfer with Agent Venom. I think Shang-Chi actually benefits a lot from playing manually. But we can also test to see how he does versus Agent Venom, because I don't think Hela's going to be able to kill Agent Venom. So there's been a lot of memes in the past about Agent... Okay, there, he killed him right away. He killed him on the wake up. But now I'm probably going to die on the wake up. Press 3. Yeah, damn. He does trigger Null's artifact, but that's it. And yeah, it's not even Silver Surfer first. Yeah, man, I don't know. I guess he could be good for Otherworld Battle. Honestly, saying that a character is good for Otherworld Battle these days kind of feels like saying that the character is good for Alliance Conquest. It's just kind of like a nothing, meaningless thing. Otherworld Battle doesn't matter. It's not a competitive PvP game mode. It's just kind of like a nothing burger, you know? Unfortunately. I mean, listen, I made a whole video. I really, believe me, I petitioned the devs as much as I could for them to improve Otherworld Battle. I'm not trying to make this an Otherworld Battle video, but they just don't want to make Otherworld Battle good, man. They hate Otherworld Battle. Like, it's really cool when he gets his Giga iframe ignore and he can just iframe ignore on all skills. It's really, really cool. But then he doesn't heal on any other skills, so then he's kind of just stuck. And he has to tank... He has to tank like crazy until his next... Okay, I did win that fight. He has to tank like crazy until his next tier 3. Honestly, if they had changed Shang-Chi's artifact to give him immortality, it would be so sick, man. It would be so... He'd be so good. He'd be so good. He'd be so good. He'd be like a top 5 PvP contender, potentially. Or easily top 10. But as it stands now, he's just not tanky enough. He's just not tanky enough. It's unfortunate. Part of the reason also why his value kind of is shit right now is there are no speed characters in the meta right now at all. If you look across any game mode, but in particularly Team Battle Arena, you can take a really quick snapshot. Who attacked me? Okay, Terry, I see you. I see you, scary Terry. You can see there's one speed type. There's Spider-Man, and not all the teams are running Spider-Man. And it's just Spider-Man, and that's like a year-old uniform. But yeah, speed characters have been criminally underrepresented in PvP. I'm also running Spider-Man. But yeah, speed characters have been criminally underrepresented in PvP for the past couple of years. And so that also makes combat characters less valuable. And with Wolverine being so good, you know, he just obliterates Deadpool, obliterates Quicksilver, obliterates Spider-Man. There's no need for anyone else. So even if Shang-Chi was better, you would still just say, well, I could just use Wolverine. And I'd be like, yeah, fair play. Now, Shang-Chi does represent something different because his iframe ignore skill is a reflect skill. So it is like a different way of building a character. You're building him more for tankiness, not necessarily for damage. You're building him for survivability. But even with the absolute best amount of survivability, right? Like, the only thing that could make this better is if it was 100% wall. But I've got a brilliant liberation here, and I've got a brilliant insight here. This literally can't get tankier, and he's still getting obliterated. He's still getting chunked down. So, yeah. Again, I would say the devs should. I would say the devs should buff him, but they're not going to buff him, right? He's just going to stay this way, and he's going to be kind of like a middling character. He probably needs like chain hit damage reduction. Like, I would say the easy fix is to just change his artifact and give him immortality. That's the easy fix. Shang-Chi was among the first characters to get artifacts, and a couple of the artifacts that have been released since then, like Sharon Rogers, have been reworked because they are so bad. So I think power creep justifies them reworking this artifact and giving him immortality. If they didn't want to give him immortality, then I think giving him the artifact buff that comes from Black Swan's passive that X23 and Dakin have, that is another one that they could do where under 50% you basically become immune to basic damage. It's sort of like a shittier version of immortality. I think if they gave him that, that would be really good. Barring any of those, I think if they slapped on like a 20% chain hit damage reduction, that could be solid enough. but probably we're getting nothing, and Shang-Chi just was what he is. Anyways, boys, yeah, that's my review. Thank you so much for watching the video. Smash the like button if you enjoy the content, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.